Hey guys, it's Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. We're open today. Today is the July the 8th, I believe. And in between visitors, thought we'd make a fast, short video here. I had two things to cover. One of them's a message that I got, and the other one is a voicemail. The voicemail was concerning a nice gentleman. Sorry I haven't had a chance to call you back, but I knew I couldn't help you. He's calling from Florida, I think it was, wanting to check on some genealogy about his family. Sheila and I are not genealogists. We do good to figure out our own.
Yeah, sorry.
The easiest thing to do on genealogy is go to Ancestry.com or 23andMe or one of those and pay the $40, $50, $60 and do a DNA test. Send it in, and they will notify you every time somebody else sends one in that's related to you. And
Yeah, you'll get a hint on Ancestors. It pops up an email and says, here's your hint.
yeah, and so that's the easiest thing to do on genealogy. Sheila and I we're not genealogists, and I can't help you, or we can't help you with that. The other question we got was, do you know if and where Jim Vance is buried? Is where he was shot, or was he transported somewhere else? And this person was wanting to know, and we get quite a few questions from this fella. Some of them's real good that we haven't thought about, but that maybe other people have. Where is Jim Vance buried? Now there's two
Myths or
stories to that, or myths, yeah. One of them is, let's go through the first scenario. The scenario is Jim Vance is coming out of the hills to meet his wife at Thacker. And when he's coming out of the hills to meet his wife, he sees her coming, but he doesn't see the Kentucky posse coming in his direction until it's too late. They've already spotted him. He takes off running back up in the hills to tell Cap. They're hiding in the hills. Now, somewhere I read where they said Cap and Jim Vance was hunting. No, they were not hunting. This was only 7 days after they had murdered two more of Randall's children, beat his wife, and burned his cabin. Only 7 days. They're not out hunting. They were out hiding. So Jim Vance runs back up into the woods, and everybody knows the story. Cap runs. They kill Jim Vance. Now, Cap run, and he kept running. That's when he went out west. When he seen Uncle Jim Vance, his Uncle Jim Vance, or who we call Crazy Jim Vance, shot and killed by the Kentucky posse, he knew that it was for real. Things was getting real. He took off out west, and he ran. Jim Vance laid there. Now, did Devil Ants go get Walt Hatfield when he died in prison and get his body? No, buried underneath the parking lot somewhere. Did they go send? They don't have to go get. Devil Ants had the money at the time to send somebody. He could have found one of his family members that didn't have warrants on them or charges and said, hey, go pick up Walt's body and bring him here and let's give him a decent burial. Go pick up Cotton Top's body and bring him here and let's give him a decent burial. Didn't do it for neither. Both of them's buried somewhere in unmarked graves where nobody will ever know where they're at.
Sad.
So that's our great hero, Devil Ants. But getting off Devil Ants, so the scenario is, we know that if Devil Ants didn't go get Wall or Cotton Top, he's not going to go wandering through the woods trying to find Jim Vance's body, thinking, and they actually did. They stayed there for 2 to 3 days in the woods, surrounding till their beef jerky run out, surrounding that body, waiting for somebody to come and get his body. They were waiting for the Hatfields, the other ones. They didn't do it. And then they finally, the Kentucky posse, the rest of them, some of them had left that day or the next day, but a few of them stayed for several days. Nobody ever come and got Jim Vance's body. Now, so did the coyotes eat it? Did it start stinking? Did they eat it? Did they go up there to a position where they thought was in the area where Jim Vance was killed for resisting arrest? Is that where they put the marker at years and years and years later. That marker that's up there now wasn't put there until 2000, 2010, 12, whatever. Whenever they started with all this Hatfield McCoy stuff back home, that's a new marker. That's not a rock or an old thing. So they just put that up there and put it in a spot where they thought, yeah, there you go, where they thought Jim Vance had been killed at. Now the second myth, or second story, or second logical thing is, did Jim Vance's loving wife go and retrieve his body and give him a burial? Jim Vance was a big man, heavy-set guy. I figure he's looked a lot like his great-grandson, John. I just always assumed that Jim Vance looked like John Vance. I can just see the characteristics, and when Sheila and I talked to John, it was like talking, I would say, to Jim, because John's like Fred McCoy. Now, he's a nice guy, but he didn't care to tell you what he thought.
At least you know where he stood.
You know where you stood with him, or you know he's still with us.
Right, I mean, I'm saying.
Now, did Jim Vance's wife go get him and bring him somewhere and bury him? Not likely. She couldn't have handled him. What she could have done was went up there and dug to keep the wolves and coyotes eating any more than they did. She could have went up there and dug a shallow grave and rolled him over in it. Just dug a hole right where he's laying at, just rolled him over in it, and covered him over. And that sounds like the more logical thing for Jim Vance. Either way, I would say that where that marker is at, up in the woods, up Thacker Holler, is pretty much in the area. It's like a lot of other things. It's hard to go back and pinpoint exactly this is exactly where this happened or that happened. But I'd say that his grave marker is somewhere in the vicinity of where Jim Vance was killed. And other than that, Sheila, you got anything?
Nope. Just please like,
Oh, no.
subscribe. Good morning, guys. Hope you're having a great morning. Please like, subscribe, and share. Catch you on the next one.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys.